And here we go. Good morning. I've just used all my energy for the day in the first 2 seconds. And now it's over. It is. It's over. Good morning. I can see there are a few people in the chat already. The chat has been quiet. Normally there is a bit of pre-chat, but no, not today. So, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Whadjuk Noongar peoples. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today, or coming along on this land of the Whadjuk Noongar peoples to the barbecue. Barbecue day, it's barbecue day. Good morning, everybody. Where is my list? Where is my list? Okay, I'm signing into TTS so that I better make sure the volume on that is up. I can't, where are we? Get started. And where's the live stream? Why is it not showing? There it is, streaming now and open. Okay, good morning to Crispian, who's currently on the road heading to Melbourne with Immy to make it here for the barbecue. And good morning to David Crisp, John Whips, Tinker, Stephen George, Any Mules, Princess Fiona, Grant Maisel, Simon CBR. Yes, we are all hunting squirrels, Simon. We are hunting squirrels. School holiday responsibilities. Oh, David. Oh no. Get prepared to be schooled on his final day of school holidays. Live stream, says Stephen. Yes, I understood. I understood, David. My brain corrected it. I understood. You did not do. Is it irresponsibilities? Yeah, that is probably it. You're chasing rabbits instead, Tinker. Are you out in the countryside, or maybe you're up the street just near me where all the rabbits hang out? I am right now I am opening Fusion. It is opening, it'll get there eventually. How would it be, so it is now 10:03 according to my computer. How would it be if I got to the topic within the first 10 minutes? Maybe what I could do is get to the topic within the first 10 minutes and then just veer wildly off topic. And then the objective is fulfilled, at least. Maybe. Does it work that way? Ah, yes, little buggers keep digging holes in my desk, says Tinker. In your desk? We need to find an interesting squirrel for the next 4 hours, yeah. Distract me. Hang on, 4 hours, David? You're trying to distract me for 4 hours? How does that work? Can we talk about the ultrasonic? Hang on. Fusion did its thing of taking control of the window manager for Fusion. Just insists on being in the foreground all the time. It's really a poor citizen of the. I don't know what it's like on Windows. Sadly, I can't run it on Linux. You know, that is. If it wasn't for Fusion, I would probably be running Linux on the desktop, on this particular desktop right here. I used to run Eagle on Linux, and sadly, Fusion does not run on Linux. So it kind of forces the decision because the options are Mac OS or Windows. So of course, there is no choice. The choice is made. Tinker, plans to watch the stream at half speed. I could simulate that effect. And good morning to Amanda and Russell Rainey. 2026 year of the Linux desktop, says Princess Fiona. Yeah. Oh, okay, I better get out of that. That is a client project. And I'll move away from there, go into it's 10:05. Superhouse project's got to get to BeetleBot. I am going to get BeetleBot on the screen within 10 minutes of starting the stream. And then we can let ourselves be distracted and get on to other things. Here we go. It's opening. It's opening. If it wasn't for blinds, it would be curtains for everyone. Simon said, there is a choice, just learn FreeCAD and KiCad. KiCad potentially. FreeCAD, I don't hate myself. So, no. No. Oh, has my Space Mouse stopped working again in Fusion? It has. Oh, of course, Fusion just did an update. Fusion does updates constantly. It was doing an update when I launched it this morning. And after every update, it breaks all of the input drivers. So let's see. Sometimes this works. I'm going to show you something. So this is the BeetleBot PCB. Space Mouse is not working. I'm going to unplug the Space Mouse, plug it back in. That won't actually fix anything, just based on past experience, but it's worth doing. Then if I come to here and preferences and is it under general? Maybe under general. There is a thing here somewhere. Purpose for using Fusion. Mouse setup for view cube size. Wacom. Somewhere in here, is it compatibility? Space Mouse driver. Latest. If you switch between latest and legacy, sometimes it makes the Space Mouse
who
work.
lives with Fusion says he doesn't hate himself enough to learn FreeCAD.
Yeah. That just shows what my opinion of FreeCAD is. Okay, I need to take a swig of a drink. Hang on, I'm going to see if this mute button works. I set up a mute button on the Stream Deck and I don't even know if it works. Let's see. I don't know if it's working. I think the audio is still going out. It looks like it is. Yeah, the mute button's not doing anything. Nothing. Okay, I will do it. Yeah, restart. I clicked you. I will do it this way. Yeah, wagon loads, it's really confusing. I'm really confusing when you turn up at the start of the stream and I'm actually on topic. Or trying to get on topic. I want to get this Space Mouse working again. One of the one of the worst things about Fusion is dealing with Autodesk, because it is a black hole. You can't. If anybody here has tried to get any tech support out of Autodesk or report a bug, how do you report a bug in Fusion? I have gone through the process of trying to figure that out multiple times. BeetleBot, blah, blah. And now I bet the Space Mouse still won't be working. Let's give this a shot. Basically, you are just shouting into the void. There is... you go to the Autodesk site. No, Space Mouse is not working. Okay, so next thing to try is going to System Settings and Accessibility, I think it is. Somewhere in here. Maybe? I don't know. Or is it in Input Devices? Mouse and trackpad. Nope. Somewhere in here there is a thing for... Why? Okay. I'm going to try not to descend into the grumpy old man mode because I'm sure that it is... Ooh. Wagonload says, I just got RFID tags to post to my DB and display it as Nixie tubes. Ooh, okay. And Simon says, I feel your past experience with FreeCAD has jaded you. Yeah, that's possible. I tried FreeCAD many, many years ago, and it was terrible. Then I tried it a couple of years ago, which was, so there was a period where there was a commercial entity that was kind of a spin-off from the FreeCAD project. And it was composed, I think, of some core FreeCAD developers. And what they were trying to do was probably similar to the MariaDB model, where there is the community open source project, and then there is a commercial entity which can provide professional level support and be a place to receive funding for the project and then pay developers to actually do things. And I wonder if it's going to find anything. Space Mouse? No, it's not going to. Input devices? Input sound? Gaming? No. I don't know. Oh, maybe in extensions. Is there such a thing as extensions anymore? 3D connection is allowed at background activity. Yeah, what I usually have to do is go through the whole process of reinstalling the Space Mouse driver just to make Fusion recognize it again. Okay, as one last attempt, I'm going to switch this to, where is it? Not there. Not there. Compatibility. Switch that to latest. Apply. Yep. Restart Fusion again. Restart. 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 Come on. I've clicked you. Restart. Yeah, Simon says Autodesk are a pain to deal with and do everything they can to lock you into their ecosystem. They do. And they make it impossible to report anything. Anyway, so I tried FreeCAD again. I can't remember the name of the company that was the spin-off. I think the company only lasted a couple of years, like a year or two, something in that region. And it turned out that it wasn't, for whatever reason, it didn't continue. And the people who had been, there were a couple of people who had been trying to push it along, decided that it wasn't viable. And what they were trying to do, among other things, was unify the user interface within FreeCAD so that it didn't have so many different workspaces and what do they call them? Workbenches? I can't remember the terminology. There are radically different ways of using FreeCAD. You can make it look different and behave differently depending on what workspace or desktop or canvas or whatever thing you select, and they are all kind of a bit higgledy-piggledy. So one of the things I was trying to do is provide a more modernized UI. So I did try FreeCAD again in that era, and I still hated it. What am I looking for here? That's right, I'm just opening this. This is not going to work. I actually had my Space Mouse working for most of this week, and it was, I think, from like Tuesday to Friday, my Space Mouse was working, and it was a dream. It was so good. Is it working? No. And it's not even doing the zoom thing now. It's just not working at all. Yeah, Simon said, I think I've said before that 1.2 is a huge step forward. The next release, 26.3, is due later this year, and the planned improvements look impressive. On your input devices will work. Yeah. Input devices. Okay, I'm going to go to 3D connection helper. So this is the annoying thing. So this is the 3D connection thing. Oh, stop jumping down to the other screen. If I go to the viewer, it just opens a thing. Hang on, it's not working. So my Space Mouse is not working in the viewer either. Which means it has configure any application. Yeah, I just want all the defaults on this. I don't want to configure it. I just want to make the stupid thing work. Why doesn't it work? Okay, so then at this point, I reinstall the 3D driver, the 3D Connections driver. Yes, year of the Linux desktop, as Princess Fiona says. I would probably be so much happier just switching to Ubuntu on this. I run Ubuntu on so many other machines around here. What am I doing? That's right, I'm opening that so I can get to downloads where I should have, because I don't think I deleted it. 3D, no. I'm going to do this again. Space Mouse driver. Here we go. Let's do this again, over and over again. Yes, Space Mouse. Download. Where's the driver? Where's the driver? Not there. Okay. Let's go here. Download driver. Do it, do it, do it. For macOS. Yeah, 3Dware for Linux. It's what I should be running. Definitely should be running that. If it wasn't for Fusion. Okay, let's do this and this. Keeps defaulting down to the other screen. Yes, continue, and it's probably going to want to restart my computer. Yes, install for all users, install. Yes, not that you'd be able to see what I typed there. Oh, again, okay, modify the system setting, yes, do it. While I am messing around with making my stupid computer work, when it works, why doesn't it just keep working? Why does it stop working? Why do people like Autodesk insist on, like to access, yeah, allow, insist on breaking the computer over and over and over again? Oh, come on. Making changes to a system certificate. Update. Yeah, why are you taking me to a website? No, I do not want to restart my Mac. Screw you. No, I'm not going to do it. All I'm doing is loading a driver. You should be able to load a driver dynamically into the kernel. Ridiculous thing. Okay, oh, trying to get me to register the product. No, quit. Get out of Safari. All right. Enough of this raging at the universe thing and being annoyed by software that is antagonistic to its users. And let's work on this. Let's work on this. Need a 12-step program to get off Fusion. Yes, I need an alternative program. What? Okay, this is another reason to get off Fusion. You may be in the process of seeing me rage quit Fusion. Run ERC to find differences and resolve them. Different connections. So it has somehow now, because of the stupid cloud connectivity, it has broken the link between the schematic and the PCB. They are no longer the same thing. 1mm, yeah. They are no longer linked. So the net list is no longer being carried through. Why do I want to see comments taking up the entire bottom third of my screen? The answer is I don't. Okay. Run ARC to find differences and resolve them. Different connections on that to that. This would actually make me give up on doing this on this stream, because this is what you can't see right now is a warning down in the bottom right corner. If I make myself go away, which I much prefer anyway, this warning down here, board and schematic are not consistent. There we go. No forward-backward annotation will be performed. Use the ERC command to get a detailed error report. Yeah, so what that means is that the schematic does not think that it is linked to the PCB anymore. And so if we do something like check, where is this net? What is this net called? DP1. Okay, DP1 is there. If we go to the hardware, let's do show DP1. Where is it? It's there. It is between that and that. Where else should it go? Should it go anywhere else? No, that's it. Okay, DP1. Oh yes, it is now disconnected from the pin of the IC. So you see on the schematic here, if I do a show on DP1, it highlights that pin, and you can see that it's linking this resistor and this capacitor. So there should be 3 nodes on that net. The node to each end of these 2 parts and the node that goes to pin 12. But if we go to the PCB, it's now forgotten that pin 12 is meant to be connected. It thinks pin 12 is assigned to net S$3 instead of DP1. So it has totally screwed up. Fusion has fried its little brain and decided, what's probably happened, I've seen this happen quite a number of times, is because Fusion is an online Duvalaki, it tries to sync all of it tries to sync everything to the cloud. The problem is, fundamentally, internally, the schematic and the PCB are still different globs of things. It's like you've got 2 documents open and it's trying to keep them synchronized through a third party, through the cloud service. And if it does something like save one and push it, and there is some kind of a glitch and it doesn't save, the 2 documents end up out of sync.
Yelling at the cloud.
Yeah, I am yelling at the cloud.
_RFT said, KeyCAD time.
Maybe. And also, Tinker, who are you calling a middle-aged man? I'm an old man. I'm an old man yelling at the cloud. I'm yelling at Autodesk's cloud. And so what happens is you end up with a project like this, which in Fusion should be a single project. Like Fusion, the software running on my local computer, should have a consistent internal model of the schematic, the PCB, the 3D files, everything else associated with it, that should be totally isolated from the cloud service, so that if you make a change in the schematic, then that change is automatically it's all part of the same thing. It happens in the PCB as well. It doesn't have to sync the schematic to the cloud and then pull that back down and resync with the PCB and try to keep it synchronized that way. It's because of the way they took Eagle with its disconnected modes. This is one of the things that I very strongly disliked about KeyCAD when I was using it many years ago. And it's also one of the things that I disliked about Altium. It makes me wonder why. Okay, I dislike this about all PCB, all EDA software, which is the concept that schematic capture and PCB design are 2 fundamentally different things. Yes, they are fundamentally different things, but they are also fundamentally intertwined. You can, but should not, do one without considering the context of the other. And it's really a throwback to the old days of 60s, 70s, 80s electronics design that has this idea that some engineer will sit in isolation, draw up a schematic, and get the schematic to the point where it is pristine, it is perfect, everything is set, and then the schematic goes to the PCB layout stage, and then the PCB layout happens as a separate operation, being done in separate software. And then it is only the net list and a few other bits of metadata that go from the carryover from the schematic to the PCB side. And it used to be not uncommon to lay out a PCB totally independently of a schematic. And then you just got to manually keep them in sync. You could edit your schematic and then it doesn't reflect in your PCB. The PCB is this totally separate entity, and it's like you're maintaining two things in parallel, and then your human brain has to try to keep them synchronized. It is such an archaic way of working, and I hate it. When I was using KiCad in the very early days, I can't remember what version, but a long, long time ago, like, what are we talking about, 15 to 20 years ago? It would have been around 2009, 2007, 2007, that sort of era. The idea that you do your schematic and then you export a netlist and then you pull the netlist into the PCB software, it's just so brain dead.
001 said, the good old days when the software in use was a pencil.
Yeah. Can you open the same project on a second computer and see which version it shows? Okay, I just realized what would happen with that suggestion. It'll still be BeetleBot v0.1. In one of the recent updates, Fusion took away their revision display within the project itself. PCB out of date. I'm going to... that's the 3D view. Yeah, stuff it. I'm going to pull the PCB. Because of the cloud-based licensing, if I try to open this on my laptop, it'll tell me I can't because it is open on this computer and I'll have to suspend this session. Yeah. So, one way around this. Okay, the painful way around this. Let's see. Hang on. I need to do something about my throat. Okay, hang on. Yeah, let's just do one little thing. So, different connections on DP1. This is where the fault occurs. So, IC3 pin DP1 and pad 12, DP1 SS3. This is saying different connections between the schematic and the PCB. The difference is it isn't even connected on the PCB. So, what I can do is, and this is it right here, you can see pin 12 and DP1 are not connected. So what I'm going to do is come in here, there is the connection to pin 12, and I'm going to nuke it. And then I'm going to reconnect it. And now, let's see what happens. Has it made any difference here? No, it has not. Okay. Fusion, I officially hate you. Wagon Line says, oh rats, that means you need a second secret squirrel account. Yeah, for another $800 something a year. Grant says, JCar still sells etch-resistant pens. You can probably get one at Electronics if you don't want to visit JCar. Yeah, Electronics do sell them, I'm pretty sure, as well. And I believe I have some. There was an alarm going off for a moment there outside. To resolve them. Okay, so then if I cannot resolve that, in the past, I'm pretty sure I've resolved errors by doing this. I'm just going to hit save on this for now. So what Autodesk have done is tried to take the disconnected schematic and PCB objects, entities, collections of data and design information, and glom them together by putting them inside an envelope, and the envelope is the project. So this is an electronics project, and you can see here that it has 3 children, which is the 3D model, the PCB layout, and the schematic. And it is a halfway step to making it all integrated. And if it was actually integrated behind the scenes, that would be fine, but it is not integrated.
Have you tried turning it off and then on again?
I don't want to. No. Turning it off and then on again, as in, yeah. Okay, now if I, curiously, let's see if I delete this. Oh, hang on. No, it didn't. Now, if I run ERC again, so that, okay, so the DP1 connection has gone away, like the error on the DP1 connection. So we now have no connection on pin 12 to DP1, and we have no connection on here. But if I add this, oh, maybe I, no, surely not. Maybe that won't come back until I manage to refresh. Consistency errors. What errors have I got? Only one pin. Oh, those are just warnings. That's not issues. Consistency errors. Different connections on pin. Okay. I think I can resolve this. I can restore the forward-backward annotation. But what I'm going to do is, oh, come on, where's the, oh. What idiot UI designer decided that 1 pixel wide bars are the correct thing to try to grab? I am really in a ranty mode today. What's going on? Frustration. The problem is, so the fundamental problem is, I want to go fast, and stuff just gets in my way, and it frustrates me. It frustrates me when tools get in the way. So what I'm going to do is okay, nothing should need to be changed there, nothing there, nothing there. This sheet will need some changes. What I'm going to do is document. I am going to dump this out as a PDF. Where will I stick it? I will stick it on the desktop. Oh, did I say all pages? Or 1 page? Full or all? Yes, okay, do it. All right, so now I have a PDF right here, which is what it looked like, apart from these traces that I've deleted over here, those nets. It is a tray. Gavin says, time for a barbecue and fire dance fusion. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is have a look at all of these consistency errors and nuke them. So let's get rid of that and that. Now, different connections on there. So I want to get rid of that, probably that. Refresh that, different connections on that. Oh, seriously? all of those. Hang on, why isn't that jumping? Oh, okay. I don't know why. I don't know why. It should be jumping. Why isn't the view jumping to the location? It was just a second ago. And now it's not. IC3, none, SS3. Oh, okay, because, maybe because there is no location. Different connectors on. Okay, let's find one of these. IC3A pin, so I'm going to say show IC3. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Now, where is... Oh. Why did you... What is wrong with you, Fusion? Now, IC3. Why does it keep coming back to here? And pad 11, none. Okay. Can we synchronize now? Okay. Yeah, now we've got to resolve all these conflicts. IC319. I'm just going to let it run and deal with the fallout. Okay, so now we should have forward-backward annotation. No? Yes. Okay, consistent. Let's reconnect these traces. And this one was there. No, that was not there. It was... It dropped my tool when I switched sheets. Okay, then in here, I'm going to grab the net tool again. Come on, net tool. Yes, do what I say, Fusion. Reconnect all of these. At this stage, losing those connections was not such a big deal. Because, where are we? DP. I want to do hook up USB and design. Yeah, that and that. Stick a label on there. Come on, I'm clicking. Why aren't you rotating? There. I'm getting into a really bad mood. Why? DP is 0 is what we want for that one, so we can connect it to the USB hub, and that's going to be DM0. So we've got data positive, data plus, data minus. Should be DP and DN for positive and negative, but oh well. That's the weird convention we live with in USB land. Whoever came up with the naming. I'm sure they had a reason for it. They probably sat in a committee meeting for days and decided, do we call it plus and minus, or do we call it positive and negative? There was probably some justification that I am totally unaware of. Okay, where are we now? Let's just check that we have that connection now from here going to pin 12, and we do. Okay, so we now have consistency. Our schematic is back linked to our PCB layout. I want to swap the USB. Okay, here is a mission. I've got something that you can do to help me. Please. I saw you had the same net tag on the same line in 2 places. Can that cause problems? Said Wagon Loads. No, it can't. Forcefully remove computer from room by way of a parabolic arc. Yeah. And Grant says, I agree about 1 pixel wide bars, especially when you have a smallish 4K monitor and are long-sided, you can't find them. Tinker says, I could have named them data this way and data that way. Yeah, except that it's differential pair. It's not TX and RX. So, Where was I? Where was I? Okay, so back to. I'm going to go back to Castnote for a second. Hello to Wagon Loads, Dave Paul Jones, Tech Nebulous, Gavin Jackson, Stephen44799, Jisk Maker. Hey to you all. Hey Jisk. Welcome. Welcome. Now, what was the topic? I don't know. What was the topic? That's right. What I was going to do is swap left and right. Oh, yes. Okay, here is the mission for you. There is something. I have made this mistake before. Not very many times, but I have made it at least once that I can think of. And I have seen other people make this mistake, including on projects that I have helped them with, and I did not pick up this mistake. And this mistake is one of those things that is so embarrassing that you kind of hang your head in shame. So, there is something missing from this picture. This is the power. Come on, I've got to select the vertical. There it is. Oh. Yeah, and scroll bars that disappear. That is the other thing that I hate about modern UIs. Scroll bars should never disappear. It's because modern UI designers are very touch-centric. They assume that you're going to be interacting with the canvas with a touch interface of some kind, and not by pointing, like using a pointer and clicking on something and dragging it. And so if you want to click on a, so they do the stupid thing where scroll bars disappear when you're not using them. So then how are you meant to use them? They're so annoying. And then you've got to like wiggle it around to make the scroll bar. So at least in this case, the scroll bar is visible, but it's very narrow. Yeah. I don't want to turn into a ranty person. I'm turning into a ranty person. Anyway, okay, my big embarrassing mistake. This is the power management sheet of the schematic. Here we go. We have this connector, which is just a placeholder at the moment. It's a two-way pluggable 3.81mm screw terminal, simply because it gives us a pair of pads on the board that we can use to attach a flying lead with something like an XT30 or XT60 connector on it. The positive side of that,
People are still
which
using
is VRAW,
anything other than their phones.
which is VRAW, comes through this fuse, and then we've got 12 volts because this is a nominal. It's a 3S LiPo is kind of what I'm designing this around. I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. Maybe this should be... I've got to look up what I ordered. I do have batteries somewhere. Is it 3S or 2S? Maybe it's 2S. That may just be a straight up mistake on the voltage symbol. Where is BeetleBot? The BeetleBot box is here. Oh. What did I select? I have a box. In this box. Oop, what did I drop? I dropped a... I dropped the needle. It's a Lure Lock needle off a solder paste dispenser thingamajigamy. What have I got? I've got this. What is this? Oh, this is a battery. Okay. This is, 7.4 volts, 1800 milliamp hours. This is one of the several batteries. Are there others? Oh yeah, there's another one here. This one. I don't know if this is the same. Yeah, it's the same. So this, look, stereo. This is the battery that I got for it. So it's got an XT60 connector. It's got a charge connector for the balanced charging of the cells within the battery, and it's 2S, which means nominal 7.4 volts, which means that 12 volt is wrong. That it's funny when the ATEM gets out of sync with when it should have the little picture-in-picture displayed. Shows it when it shouldn't and doesn't show it when it should. So Okay, so this 12 volts is not actually 12 volts. Is that used anywhere else? Let's do a quick check. Is this actually referenced anywhere? No, it's not. Okay, so this is a named net, but it doesn't even need to be. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of that reference, and in fact I'm going to get rid of that net so that oh, I didn't need to do that because it denamed when I removed that label, yeah, that other part of it. So is there anything else up there? No, I can save a line there. Yeah, so here is the state of my embarrassment, which is something is missing from this picture. Whoop, right there. That native name should be VBAT or something similar. Yeah, that's a good idea. Change the comment. Open the settings app, navigate to accessibility, visual effects, and toggle the always show scroll bar switch to on. Set, whoop. Oh, it, system settings, accessibility, and, hang on, where am I looking for? Visual effects. Where is visual effects? Visual effects. I can't see it. All right, I'm going to search for visual effects in here. Nope, it's not in. Yeah. Okay. That's a Windows thing. Power switch. Keith got it. There is no power switch on this thing. So you plug in the battery, you shove it into the back of the robot, latch it in place. You can't turn it off. So this is system settings, appearance, and show scroll bar setting to always. Okay. System settings. No, what? I can't just search for it. Why do I have to go into here? Okay. Where is it? System settings, appearance, and scroll bars, always. Yay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so there is no power switch. This is a problem. At least I think it's a problem. And what I have in mind is setting all of you a task, which is finding me a suitable power switch. Small. I'm just going to bring up something here. It doesn't need to have crazy current rating. So what I'm thinking is something along this style. And these things come in a variety of different sizes. Okay, yep. I am verifying I'm not an LLM. What's the current rating on this one? Just 30 volts, 500 milliamps. That's probably almost enough because these motors don't pull very much. And I want to switch on the high side. Oh, that's right. I was changing the label to VBAT. Let's do that. Let's, come on. Why has Companion stopped, Stream Deck has stopped responding? What? Why has Stream Deck stopped responding? And which of these little icons is Stream Deck? It's not that one, that's Tailscale. It's not even showing up there. Why isn't Stream Deck responding? Elgato Stream Deck. All right, I'm going to launch the config app. There we go. Oop. I want to show, okay, now will it work? Yeah, now it's responding. Stream Deck bugged out for some reason. All right, now back to here. No, not that. Not that. What? I want that, and I want that, and I want that to be VBAT. That'll do. And I'm going to change
Tinker001
that.
said, in addition, the current rating of the switch is what it'll handle while you're switching it.
Ah, okay. Equals 7.4 volt DC nominal. Okay. And I'll put in a little note there saying it's a 2S LiPo. So, your mission, and you must accept it, is to find me a switch to stick in right here, right there. I'm even going to make a space for it. I'm going to take that. Whoop, 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 whoop. Right. It is going to go right there. This little bit of the gubbins is where the switch is going to go. After the fuse, because the fuse should always be the very, very, very first thing in the chain, right after the power input, because we don't want to have unprotected stuff upstream of the fuse. If the fuse blows, nothing else should matter. And don't forget about surge currents. If your fuse is 1 amp, you don't want your switch to be harder to replace fuse. Yeah. So
And
this...
Grant Meisel said, show us where it goes physically, because size is relevant.
Yes, exactly. All right, so I need to explain this mission. Back to here, let's have a look at the assembly. I have an idea of where I want it to be, which is basically on the front, probably the front right corner. But I was braining this in my brain. I was not...
Tinker001 said, for bonus points, avoid forcing power into the battery. ID suggests a dual shotkey.
A dual shotkey for not forcing power into the battery. Yes. So V in plus at the moment goes down to here, to the input of the 5 volt regulator. It goes nowhere else on planet Earth. So it should not be possible to back power. And we have a diode here. It's only an SS56. I'm going to replace that with something a bit more modern. There's a diode that I used on a recent project for a client. Yeah, I've started falling into this trap of using parts that I am familiar with because I've been using them for a long time. Back when I started in electronics, like when I was messing around as a kid, like very late 70s, that sort of era, and then through the 80s, the standard power diode that you would use is the 1N4001. And then the 1N4004, which is a really basic silicon diode with the usual 0.6-ish voltage drop. And yeah, it is literally 70s technology. And here we are 50 years later and still using 70s technology. But chemistry moves on and technology moves on. There are newer and better things now. And so the SS56 is a Schottky equivalent. Essentially, it's a drop-in equivalent. Comes in like SMA, SMB packages. Old school, large, like physically large packages, very high. And so after so many years, after a lifetime essentially of designing 1N4 series diodes into projects, I just started using SS56s because it was a drop-in replacement. I didn't need to change the footprint. So this is, or is it SMA? Yeah, same footprint as a 1N4004. But the SS56, even though it is less archaic than the 1N, 4 series is still an antique. there are much better things now. And also,
Brad Meisel said, I still drink coffee out of a cup made of fired clay. Nothing wrong with old technology.
well, yeah, that's true. Drinking coffee out of a... yeah, but there can be good reasons to switch. Okay, what I'm going to do is hit save on that is the first thing. Then I am going to see if I can find it. I've got a library part for this newish diode. I can't remember what it is. The thing is that I have part names stuck in my head because they are parts that I have been using literally for 45 years. And there are newer parts that are not yet stuck in my head. And this is one of them. So this is what I need to do. Let's do a part replacement. I'm going to look for diodes. I'm just going to see if I can find it in here. There aren't that many. Oh, is this it? No, not that one. This one is in...
001 said, your schematic makes it look like VBAT and J5 are separate power sources.
I am going to pause that sentence in just a second. I heard the words. I don't understand their meaning. All right, let's see. What was this? Your schematic makes it look like VBAT and J5 are separate power sources. Okay, where is J5? Oh, okay. I can see how you say that, Tinker. I understand. Maybe that is a matter of convention and just the way the convention works in my head. So I need to put power symbols on here as well. And the convention that I use is flowing left to right, top to bottom. So signal path left to right, voltage differential top to bottom. Higher voltage is higher, lower voltage is lower. So ground in this case, or the 0 volt reference, is lower than the power rails because there is a positive delta between them. And the left to right concept means that when I am doing labels like this, if I was showing this as an input, so VBAT was coming in from some other source, at the moment this is actually only here as a flag. It doesn't even go anywhere else. And I could just delete this stub and have the flag showing the name of this net. And in fact, that doesn't even need to be a named net. Probably shouldn't be. I should just delete that, and that way it would not cause that ambiguity. But what I do is, if it was an input, I would do it like this. So flowing from left to right. Power comes in from VBAT down here and comes in on this net, and then is presented, like it goes through the fuse and it comes to this terminal. So that's how I would show a power input, and a power output I show like that. So it's coming from here through this net and then flowing out to the right. So just because of the convention, you can see here V in, it's V in plus. You might think that that's an input, but because it is flowing from left to right, that is just a name on that net. And the V in net can be used elsewhere in the circuit. So you can see down here, this is the input to this part of the voltage regulator. This is the output from the input source.
001 said, or could have a net label rather than the flag.
Yeah, exactly. Could have a net label. But the thing is that it doesn't even need a net label. See, that this net goes nowhere else. There is zero external reference for it. So how about I just get rid of that? In fact, what I'm going to do is get rid of that so it's not even a named net. It's now just going to be a dynamically named net. And I'm just going to change this to say battery equals that instead of VBAT. So it's not even a reference anymore to the net name, which no longer exists. All right, so now we've got battery coming in, going to the fuse, through the fuse. That's where the switch is going to be. That's right, I was going to give you a mission because I'm going to go and do a couple of things while some of you have been nerd sniped into, hang on, I've got to, there we go, into chasing this. Now, there are a number of switches that I've got in my parts library that I could use. So if I come into, say, switches, what have I got? Single pole, double throw. That's a side mount micro switch. But what I really want, so there are tack switches and all sorts of things in here. Where is a larger switch? Oh, that's one of the illuminated switches used on the smart light switches. What am I looking for? What I want is double pole, double throw. There are probably a couple in here. Yeah, something like this. There's no 3D model of this particular one visible in here. But this is one of the classic old toggle switches, the ones with a little stainless steel or chrome hand levers that you flip and goes doop, doop, doop. And they have decent current rating. They're physically kind of large. I could use one of these. This is a double pole, double throw, and it's a horizontal, so it's through hole. It's very, very strong mechanically. It's got some mounting lugs that go through the PCB and are soldered on, which are attached to the main structure of the switch. Once this is soldered onto a PCB, you could not rip it off. It is crazy strong. You would destroy the PCB before you pull the switch off. And what I want is a switch which is ideally a slide or a toggle switch, or it could be a rocker switch, which is right angle mounted, so it needs to come out horizontally from the PCB. And where I want to put it, get rid of that, is probably right there, just on that front corner of the robot. Now I would consider also putting it around the back somewhere, if there was room for it. And also, I intend to switch, I intend to switch the left and right placement. Now, if I come up here and get rid of that, yeah. So you can see the fuse is on the left, the power input is on the left, USB-C is on the right. I'm going to switch that, put USB over this side. Maybe I'll put USB up the front. Make it really close to the USB hub. Because the thing is that this is never going to be plugged in. This is never going to be plugged in while the bot is driving around. So what I'm going for here, the reason I'm thinking of switching these and putting USB on the left and power on the right is the voltage regulator is on the right and the USB hub is going to go on the left, wherever the USB hub is. Oh, it's underneath there. So what I want is a straight shot. Ooh, Johnny! Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. 45-month member, silver supporter, champion. Who else? Oh, yes, and Keith is here as well. Just checking in cast note to see who's talking in the chat. And maybe a key switch. Simon has got a DigiKey part number. Big honkin' toggle switch, says Tinker. Wagon Load says bat switch. And Wagon Load says, if you had a metal rod inside a vertical plastic tube, you could turn the robot off by turning it upside down. I actually really like that idea. That is cool. David says, somebody might want to plug a jump battery via USB into the bot while it runs. In this iteration of the bot, there is no onboard charging. There's no battery management. And so you can't charge it via USB. The battery will be disconnected and charged with an external charger. But in the future, I see what you're saying. All right, before I move things around, let's have a look at some of these switch suggestions. But you can see what I mean is, if you consider either the USB connector or the fuse here, you could imagine something like a slide switch in that location, which is slightly recessed into the body of the bot, so that you can just slide it to turn the robot on or off. And ideally, it'd be a bit of a distance away from the wheels. So if it's running and you grab the bot, you're like scooping it up off the ground and you're turning it off, you could do that without sticking your hand right up against a spinning wheel. So the other location I was thinking of putting it is up here. But, all right, before I start looking at these switch suggestions, where my mind is going with this is, I take the USB-C socket and I put it right up here on the front left side, just in here somewhere, and that gives us a very short shot for running the traces through to the USB hub chip, which is going to be located just down in the front left part of the bot. So very short traces there on that connection. Then power switch where the USB-C socket is. So we have the fuse on the left. And what we would do is we would have power coming in from the battery onto this, the flying leads will be soldered in there. Then a short run to the fuse. From the fuse, straight across the bot to the switch. And then from the switch, a straight shot up to the voltage regulator up here. And also to the high side of the H bridges. The supply voltage for the H bridges here will come from that unregulated power, and then we can PWM it to speed control. So I think what it comes down to is I need to find a switch to go into this location. Going to recharge. Haha. My faithful little robot vacuum cleaner has just announced that it is going back to recharge. Yeah, there, right there. Let's turn bracket back on and spin it around here. It needs to fit into that area, and then it can use up any of the space that is currently occupied by this plastic without being too large or overwhelming. Switch the front could double as a collision shut-off, says Tinker. Yeah, if you ram into something, it's like the useless machine that does nothing but turn itself off. You can power the robot by battery bank. Yeah, you could, but I don't think so in this iteration. Now, where were we? So, Simon had a part number. I am going to pull up this part number. Let's see, Simon's suggestion, that part number there. What have we got? Ooh, yeah, this is on the track of what I'm talking about. Very much. A right angle mount slide switch with through-hole connections to make it nice and strong. What's it rated to? 1 amp, 30 volts. This is right on the money, Simon. Yeah. This is very much the sort of thing that I had in mind. What's the MOQ? 216 at $2.37 each. Do we have one available to order? Yeah, okay, so it's not a stock part. What a Superhouse. Oh, sorry, Simon asked, "Do I have a supplier preference?" DigiKey is good. I order from DigiKey all the time. At any one point in time, I typically have at least one DigiKey order in flight. So this is fine. It's just that this one is not a DigiKey stock part. It's a third-party stock, and it looks like the minimum quantity is 216. So it's $514 to buy 216 of them, and you can't buy like two. Let's see if I say two. Yeah, must be entered a multiple of 216. So basically, this is right on the money, but I just need one that I can order in small quantities. So, yeah, that is the mission. So, you know, this sort of thing, where is that? That's only 12 volt. But yeah, something in the order of an amp rated side mount slide switch. Oh, that's pretty nice. It's got the stakes through it to attach it to the PCB to make it nice and strong. So yeah, if anybody has specific examples, I'm going to drop this in the chat. Wayne says, how many amps do those limit switches handle? If you had one with a lever, a push rod next to it can toggle it. Yeah, then I'm building my own mechanical mechanism, and I'd rather not do that when there are things off the shelf like this, which are just slide switches for 71 cents. You solder it in and it solves the problem. This one's only 100 milliamps, so that's not actually a suitable switch, but that sort of style. This is what I'm talking about. Through hole, ideally with mounting stakes so that it is very strong, it adheres to the board. I am sitting here slowly freezing. I'm going to turn on the heating. Sorry about this. I didn't turn it on earlier because I figured that by the time, here we go. Oh, there's someone parked outside. By the time the barbecue starts, all the doors are going to be opened up. Any heat that I put into the room is going to dissipate and it'll be a waste heating it up. But in the meantime, I've got to live. And I may not make it to the barbecue if I freeze to death first, which is why I'm kind of rugged up as well. And also, the heater is loud, as you can hear. Jisk says, sending you some of our 30 degrees C. Yeah, okay, so one of these that is rated to ideally definitely at least an amp, preferably a couple of amps. You can see that down at this sort of scale, most of these are saying 100 milliamp, 100, 200 milliamps, 200 milliamps, 300 milliamps, 300 milliamps, 100, 25 milliamps. These are the really tiny, teeny tiny ones. You know, we can't hear the heater on the other side of the stream, says David. No, I did not know that. Because I've had people complain about it before. I've had people say, that heater is so loud, can you turn it off? Or the air conditioner. It's the same thing. It's just running in. It's a heat pump. Right now, it is pumping the heat into the room, not pumping the heat out of the room. I guess, yeah, through hole. What filters do we have? Oh, we don't have any current filters. We've only got very limited filters. That's annoying. Ooh, Tinker has come up with one. Let's see. Where are we? 1 amp, 125 volts. Yes. Yes. Okay, one of the factors here, where is it? SimpleBot. I don't know how much current these motors pull. Let's find out. I'm kind of Yeah, my feeling is it's going to be not much. It's going to be like 150 milliamps. If it's in the several hundred milliamps range, I would be surprised. So, little motor. Let's... How am I going to do this in a way that you can see? Not very easily. Oh, I just got a DHL, you must pay import duties message. That was what that ding was. Okay, I'm going to switch to overhead, which is going to be ridiculously out of focus until I fix it. And that, or it's blurry cam and blurry cam. Yeah, that'll jump back out of that mode in a moment. Got to turn on power supply.
At 2001 said, you can double up the current rating on that one. It's double pole.
Ah, right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I could just... Now, there is one thing to consider with that. Yes. So, I don't even know whether this is even a thing, but I'm going to mention it because it's something that I was told way back when I was a whippersnapper. Sorry, I'm just playing around with this, which is that it is unsafe to parallel gang switches.
Easiest switch is XT60 connector on the board, and then you make XT60 jumper.
Yeah, that's one way. It is unsafe to parallel gang a multi-pole switch to increase its current rating if your current is going to be more than the current that one pole can handle, because of the timing of the switch contact changeover. This was actually in the context of relays, I believe, that I was hearing this. The idea that, say you've got a double pole, double throw relay rated to 10 amps per pole, and you want to run up to 20 amps through it, you can't just parallel gang them, because when the solenoid fires and the little ticky-tacky closes the contacts, one of the contacts will hit fractionally before the other, and the inrush current, like the big bulk current, will go through only one of the contacts, which will then cause arcing and potentially like weld it on so that the relay can't turn off. And so what happens is that momentarily you are not running your power through both contacts, you're running it through one contact and overloading it. I don't know how real that is, whether it's actually a valid problem. That's just what I recall from my childhood. Back when I was in primary school, messing around with this sort of stuff. Okay, I'm going to connect, what have I got? I've got my lab power supply set to 6 volts because these are nominal 6 volt. In fact, I'll turn it on. These are nominal 6 volt motors. Wrong power supply. I've got the cable plugged into power supply 2, not power supply 1. Okay, so I'm going to make this run and unloaded. Current is 140-ish milliamps. Yeah, it's a little more than I expected. But the gearbox in these things is rubbish. It's just a very high friction plastic gearbox. So now I'm going to load it up. 250 milliamps. You could hear it slowing down then. I was almost stalling it. It peaked at almost 300 milliamps then. Yeah, 330 milliamps. I'm going to make it even worse. I'm going to give myself some leverage. Ha ha ha. Bit of mechanical advantage here. So this is with the motor running at 6 volts, 120 milliamps. If I stall it, ooh, it stalled at an amp, give or take. under.
001 said, bet you'll never pull a full amp from the battery.
Yeah, probably not. So that is pulling 600 milliamps, 700 milliamps, and at a near stall, but not a full stall. So with two motors running, that'd be in the 1.2 to 1.4 amps range, not counting the microcontrollers and whatever else happens to be running on it, robot arm, servos, etc. So in theory, it could be doing 2 amps, I guess. Yes. Okay. Okay. Does that mean that we really do need a 2 amp switch? In theory, yes. I guess. All the BeetleBot bits. BeetleBot bits. What is... Nope, that's not what I wanted. That was what I wanted with that. Okay. What is going on with the chat? Use 2 stepper motors to drive your wheel. Instead of a DC motor. No. Wagonland says, how about a 30 amp solid state switch triggered by a 1 milliamp mechanical switch? Yeah, and Tinker says that's really not a thing at low voltages and low currents, like 1 to 2 amps, 8.4 volts. Yeah. The sort of application that I'm talking about was typically much higher power, higher voltages, where you get real arcing. And when you're talking about a few volts, like in the sub 10 volts range, which is the area that we are playing with here, arcing is not a huge thing. Of course, it's a function of both current and voltage. Or 2 amp from LCSC. Let's see this. LCSC. Yeah, that is a very common looking slide switch. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, cool. Something like that would do just fine, I believe. Rated to 2 amps at 125 volts. The getting up into the 2 amp range would really only happen if you had both motors running essentially at stall current. Tinker says paralleling relay circuits at higher voltages can end up welding contacts. Yes, exactly. That's what I was getting at before. Chicken Pasta has also sent me a thing on Discord, which it looks like a link possibly to a switch, which means I've got to open Discord. Hello, link Chicken Pasta. And let's see what LCSC have here. So this one is the link that Chicken Pasta just sent me. 30 volt, 125 volt, so that'll be AC versus DC voltages, and 4 amp and 6 amp. Interesting. What do they look like? Oh yeah, that's the classic. This is exactly what I was talking about as the classic old toggle switch with the chrome lever, etc. And you can get these. So this, and you see this one, the angle PCB mount. That is exactly what I was talking about when I was looking at where are the switches? No, not that. Come on. Not appearance. Why? What? That's an ad. I'm doing an ad command. Where is the... Ah, of course. I'm an idiot. I'm not in not in schematic view. Of course I can't add a part. Switches is not that one. Where am I looking for? I'm looking for double pole, double throw. That's right. I'm looking for that one. So you can see here, this is the right angle mount PCB, double pole, double throw. This is the one that I was saying is a candidate, but it is large and awkward. I've used this on projects before, and it is good. It's a nice switch. I like it. It's really solid. But I think a smaller slide switch is probably the way to go for this project. Extra small PCB mount. Ooh. Okay, so Chicken Pasta just sent me another one, which is this one. So this is a side. Yeah. This is kind of cool. That is a good candidate. It's a good candidate. I would need to make it set back. These switches are quite long, so what I would need to do is set it back far enough that the tip of the toggle here is essentially flush with the back edge of the bot, because if it sticks out, it could do the useless machine turning itself off routine, where the robot could be driving along and turn and brush against something and knock the switch and turn itself off. We don't want that. So, I wonder if the person parked outside is here for the barbecue. It's not a car that I recognized. If anybody is parked outside and is here in the chat, please make yourself known in the chat. Please say so. If it's a true 3 amp, if I remember correctly, I've ordered these kind of thing a long time ago. Crash detection, yeah. Wagon Light says, would a 2 amp switch wear out faster than a 1 milliamp switch that triggers a solid state switch? Stephen says, what was the battery under voltage protection answer? Does the battery have it? Yes, these batteries have a built-in protection circuit, so they have under voltage cutout. But that is also something that I want to take care of when I do a BMS as part of the design. Okay, so this, I like this as a candidate. I like this as a candidate. This one is much, much smaller. What is it rated to? 2 amps as well. I think I prefer the neatness of this little slide switch over this. Yeah. How about I chuck some in my shopping cart just to have it. Just to have it there. And then I can hear other cars outside too. I wonder if I think Mitch from Mackie Lake might be coming in today as well. And he's usually driving ridiculous cars. There was a car that they were messing around with. In fact, he posted they blew up a transmission during the week on a car with.
Does your slide switch have mounting pins or just contacts that can break?
That's a good point, Henrik. Yeah, it's definitely not as strong as the other one. It doesn't have mounting tabs. Anyway, yeah, car, 2,500 horsepower, like crazy green thing that they've been working on for a little while now, and they kind of blew up the transmission, which I am so shocked that they managed to break a transmission with a motor putting out 2,500 horsepower. I can't even comprehend that amount of power. That is just bonkers. It is, yeah. It doesn't seem real. It's like someone slipped up a calculation somewhere, and it's actually making 250 horsepower, and they got the decimal place wrong or something. 2,500 horsepower is nonsensical amounts of power. Mind you, it's not a street car. Like, it's not one you could drive. Not one you should drive on the street. It's got parachutes. Not many cars you see driving down the street with parachutes on it. Price on the little slide switch is nice. Yeah, the little slide switch. This one isn't too bad though, 73 cents.
At Grant Meisel said, price on the little slide switch is nice.
Yeah, this one is, how much? 15 cents. But I do like the mechanical robust nature of this one, where the physical structure of the switch goes through the PCB, gets soldered on, and is strong. And David says, or they were wanting a 250 horsepower car and got the calculation wrong and accidentally designed and built 2,500 horsepower. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the intake on it. So the when I was looking at it last week, the turbo's off it, and it was, so the inlet, which comes from the turbo to the manifold, was, I mean, I'm going to be waving my arms around, but I could almost stick my head into it. It was like this big. Like just putting your arm in through it, no problem whatsoever. That it was just bonkers. Yeah, and the turbo that goes on it is like the size of the size of a motorcycle engine. And it's just the turbo. Yeah, I saw a Hoonigan video on the Mayotuk R34, 104 psi boost and 600 horsepower of nitrous. 104 psi boost. What? Yeah, or the Bugatti Veyron with 1,000 horsepower on the wheels. Yeah, which sound... Okay. Back when the Veyron came out, that was mind-blowing. It is no longer mind-blowing. So, yes. Now, in the age of electric assistance, getting the... so the one of the benchmarks is 1,000 horsepower per ton, which I know is a bit of a strange thing because it's mixing units of measure, but still, that I think the Veyron was one of the first cars that that surpassed the 1,000 horsepower per ton benchmark. I could be wrong about that. I can't remember, but now that benchmark has been well surpassed. Even cars that I have contributed stuff to exceed that. Can I say it now? I think I can. I don't know if I can say it. Can I? Yeah. Yes. Depends on what can be discussed publicly without the non-disclosure agreement being in breach. I'm pretty sure I have
Look my
alluded to
last
this in the
comment.
past. Look my last comment. Okay. Henrik says, idea, make a square area on the board like a little one without solder mask, 2 pads, and on top another one trace, no solder mask and screw hole center. If you turn it, the power goes on, PCB trace meets. No, I don't want to build, I don't want to make my own switch. That is just way too much. I'm sitting here just kerfuffling around on a switch choice. I should just make a decision. Okay, the problem is, if I make a decision, it means creating a library part for something. Now, what is this? Let's stick 10, 20. How many of these do I want? I'm going to stick some of these. Add to cart. In my cart as well, and then before checkout I'm going to make a decision about what I'm actually going to order. I wonder if there is a 3D model for this. What do we have? Similar products, data sheet. I don't want to have to make my own 3D model. That would be annoying. Free trial? Yeah, that's just the footprint and schematic. I want the 3D model of the switch. Let's try this. Let's look for length 8.3 millimeters. That's definitely longer than that. That would be the length of the toggle. Okay, it is our part number, customer. That is. Let's have a look for this. I know this is a super long shot, but I'm just doing it. Okay, that is the only reference. Let's see if, oh no, there are some other references. Let's see if our friendly AI helper can come up with, is there a generic part number for this switch? Go! Because what I want to find is, no, there's no universal. Prefixed, semi-generic regional standard among several component manufacturers. Oh, okay, I wonder how much that narrows it down. No, that's just the 3-pin, so it could be vertical, it could be horizontal, or whatever, I guess. So, the reason I'm doing this is, let's have a look at GrabCAD.
Said, C3A switch in chat.
Ooh. Where is this? 3 amp switch in chat. And Simon has also sent through a part number. So I'm going to check that. And let's come back to GrabCAD while that is doing its thing. Community, library, and then I'm going to have to log in to get to the library. Or am I? Maybe I don't. No, I don't. Nice. Toggle switch. Let's see what we can find in here. Yeah, this sort of style, but horizontal. And I'm going to have to make my search way more specific. It's the other version of this. So this is with the body rotated vertically. And what we're talking about is one that's horizontal. So very, very simple. Single pole, double throw. Let's come back to here. Oi, where have you gone? Toggle switch. Single pole, double throw. And that'll narrow it a little. And then I want to go to right angle. Yeah, this is another example of the vertical format. Which I may even have some of those. Let's try right angle, but maybe searching for horizontal will get it. Ooh, Chicken Pasta has just sent me something else. Let's see. Chicken Pasta, what are you sending? Knob switch. Continue without agreeing, yes. Preview not available. then we can't see it. So we can't make a decision on a switch when we can't see
Look in
it.
Discord.
Is that CAD model maybe? Oh, is that what you're saying? CAD preview what? CAD models. Oh, the gear circuit function. The gear has been reset. Interesting. Knob sub switch on off swing. Okay, please select. Let's find out. Let's see if it has a fusion thing. Yes. Do it. Oh, sign in. Okay. New on trace parts. I am new on trace parts. You got that right. Oh. Okay. Okay, I'm going to fill in some details. On trace parts. Yes. Use strong password. Salutation. Salute. Last name. First name. You want my phone number. You want my company and organization. To download a file. My job. I don't know. My department. The department of everything. Okay. Technical department. Field of activity. Electronics. Yeah, sure. Number of employees. You want my whole life story. No, do not send me the newsletters. I do not agree to receive professional information. Okay. Terms of use. City, state, country, postcode. You want my address. Come on. Trace parts. Okay. Areas of interest. Purchased parts. Mechanical CAD, MCAD. No. CAM, electronic or electrical CAD. Yes, there we go. Okay. Address. Okay. I'm giving away all of my life information. Country, Australia, so that I can see, because I can't even see this thing. So I don't know what I'm creating. Now I've got to click on an activation link. I don't even know actually what it is that I am doing. Where is it? Because I can't see this model. Confirm your account. Okay, it is confirmed. You can activate it. What? Create your account? I've just created it. Okay. Now, please, can we get to the actual original thing? Okay, that. And that. Let's try now. Back to Fusion. Download. Come on. Preparing for download. Okay, while that is happening, I'm going to take another swig of my drink. When it's places like this, they just get different addresses and names. And Stephen says, at some point it's too much for a CAD model. Give them your Mars address. Yeah. Oh, okay. That does actually look like it. It does not... Yeah, okay. Did it download? I don't even know what happened then. I clicked on this, and it said your model is being prepared. Oh, okay. There it is. Yeah. Fusion is already open, so yeah, go for it. And what are you doing with that thing? Are you opening it? I don't know what it's doing. Maybe it ended up in my downloads folder. Let's see. Home. Downloads. And where? Downloads. That. No, it didn't end up in my downloads folder. So what was the point of that? It didn't end up in downloads. It didn't open in Fusion. Okay, I'm going to download it again. wants to open this application. No, I don't want to open the application. I want to download the file. Why? Autodesk Fusion is already open. What? Trace parts, what are you smoking? Why is it that you want to call out to open the application, which then does not do anything with it, instead of just download the stupid file? Okay, I'm going to go for a different format. Instead of Fusion, let's just go for, could be 3MF or a step or something. Where's a step file? Hopefully it'll let me download this. Step, STL, let's go for step AP2042, download. Okay. Step, download. Yay, that time it downloaded. Okay. Oh, into a zip. Okay. So extract the zip. Open that. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to go File, Upload. And I'm going to throw that at it. Upload. And hopefully we will get a switch. All of this to have achieved nothing. Have not actually made any real progress on BeetleBot. Come on. What is happening with your upload? Share your feedback about this update. Oh, you don't want my feedback, Autodesk. You do not want my feedback. I try to give you my feedback and you don't listen. So, where did it go? Where? Where? Oh, okay, in here. I should have opened the data panel. All right. Reference
As
design
Grant
cannot be
Heisel
found.
said, you can still look at the switches Simon and I sent.
Yep. Yeah, I should do that. This is turning into a yak shaving exercise just to see a 3D model of a switch. All right, now, where are those other thingies? Where are they?
That website has a lot of weird 3D models and stuff actually it seems.
Okay. So, I've got to get myself back reoriented to figure out what I was doing. Where was I? Okay. Here. Is it actually doing anything? Or is that upload still running? What is happening? Fusion, what are you doing? Probably trying to sync all of this to the cloud. Just Maker says it just deletes all your projects and sends you a bill for helping you to clean up. All right. Oh, recomposing myself. Now, back to switches. Switches. That's what we were doing. Wagonline says half of the 3D models I find look like grey plastic. Yeah. Tinker says, TTS will catch up in a moment. Alright, I'm closing Discord.
At Tinker001 said, you have no local software to look at a step file.
Oh, I do, but I was trying to upload it into, I was trying to open it in Fusion so that I could then include it in the as the model for that part. But making a new library part is more than I have the energy for right now. So I'm going to do some other things in the 10 minutes I have left before. Yes. So I need to do barbecue stuff. Yeah, so where are we? BeetleBot. Here. Switch. Yeah, okay. In order to feel like I've done something, I am going to relocate this, and it's associated.
Can you try to open it with the local software just once?
I can't be bothered right now. I'd have to go and find that software, find like a step viewer. It's chasing a squirrel that was scared up by another squirrel, scared up by another squirrel. Stick that there. So the switch is going to go in that location. Then this can go. Oop. How about we rotate it like that? Put it right about there, give or take. And in a moment we're going to see how that sits relative to the yeah, so those traces can come up there, around there, down to the hub. Maybe what I can do is move the hub over to here. I've also got to check the clearance under the ESP32 cam. This is something that was on my mind, and now I can do it. Oh, there's no clearance under it. That is annoying. Okay, so I really should not put parts. Oop, let's see if I can get it out. Here? Yeah. So this is the ESP32 cam that is going to sit on top, and it has a big metal can under there and then some other parts behind it, and those parts are essentially flush with the black plastic that are on the header. So by the time this plugs in, because I'm not intending to put this into a socket, in order to get the vertical position correct for the camera so it's on the center line, this needs to go straight onto the PCB and be soldered directly in, which means it's going to be 2.5 millimeters off the deck of the PCB with no clearance under it at all. Okay, so that means a couple of things have to change. It means, oops, it means all of this stuff which is currently sitting there under the ESP32 cam needs to go somewhere else. What I can probably do is relocate this. Ooh, so that voltage regulator, the voltage regulator stuff here needs to move up to here. Oh look, there's the other diode. So this is the diode that replaced the SS56. And these diodes, I can't even remember what the part number is. I've got to get it fixed in my head. Where are they? I might even have some here. I did have some in a bag. No, that's a sensor. Rotary encoder thingy. Thought they were here. BTM 9010. No, that is a motor driver, which is on that same project. What's this one? Another rotary sensor. So many sensors here. I've been messing around with position encoders. What's that? Oh, that's PCBs. That is a little surface mount slide switch, but way too low current for this purposes. Encoder. Yeah, I do want to find this. Where's the diodes box? No, not that one. Nope. I can get it easily in Fusion, but it means opening a client project, which I cannot reveal. It is one that is in secret mode. It's not on that board. Okay, I'm going to take this off screen so that I can open this client project and then get that part number. what I need to do is begin, here it is. I need to begin switching my designs over. Like, I need to consolidate designs. So anywhere on any design that I currently use an SS56, I should replace it with one of these other diodes, which is the thing that I'm in the process of trying to find right at this moment. Because these diodes are significantly higher power rated than an SS56. They have lower forward voltage drop. They're just all around a better part. And they're also very flat. They do have a slightly larger footprint, which is a downside. Oh, there we go. FSV20, all right. DigiKey to the rescue. What am I looking for? FSV 2015. Oh yeah, 150V. I think that's because it's 20 amp, 150 volts. Does that sound right? Yeah, 150 volts, 20 amps. It's a Schottky in a TO2773 package. And as you can see, it is a very flat sort of device. Unlike the classic 1N4004 and the SS56, which are in the SMA, SMB packages, which is like a, the height is basically the same as the width, give or take. And so they are physically very high, and then they sit up on some pads, although the low profile ones are not so bad. But these, and what's the price on them? $2.14. Okay, that's the reason. That's the reason I'm not using them everywhere. But in this particular case, where it's a higher power, not that much higher. That 20 amp current rating is actually important. Okay, revising my life goals in real time here in front of you. I am not going to willy-nilly replace SS56s with FSV 2150Vs because these are too expensive. So what I need to do is I need to find a more modern diode that is similar to this, maybe in a TO2773 package, but not necessarily with the 150 volt rating and not necessarily 20 amp rated. Something like 5 amps would be good, probably, say 5 amps 100 volts would be a good sort of thing in a slightly smaller package to you and at a lower price point, not $2.14 per per diode. So yeah, this is the correct decision for the application for which I've used it for my client, but it would not be the correct thing to use. I'm just getting back out of that client thing, back into here. It would not be the correct thing to use just for low cost, general purpose polarity protection sort of things. So if there are ultrasonic anemometer, nice girl to chase if you want to talk about it. Oh, says Simon. Oh no, who was it that he said was working on ultrasonic anemometer? That was, oh, what's an SS8P5C? Oh, that was Lachlan, who knew someone. SS8P5C, what's that? What is it? Ooh, little diode. Hello, little diode. 50 volt 4 amp. Yeah, that is in the ballpark. The price is still pretty high, but it's not as high. It's not as egregious. So, and almost entirely out of stock. But let's have a look. This in reasonable quantities, like say 100 price break, 50 cents at 100 price break. That is a lot better than the multiple dollars sort of thing.
At Tinker001 said, that's a dual Schottky.
Ah, I see. Diode array Schottky. Yeah. What I want is, I just want a modern replacement for the SS56. Maybe even an SS56 like in a low profile package. Diodes. Okay, let's see what we can find. Products. Why are there no diodes? Where are all your diodes? Standard rectifier, bridge
At
rectifier,
Tinker001 said, what I like for protecting multiple power inputs.
What I like for protecting multiple power inputs. Oh, okay, yep. Oh, was that like a multi-anode, single cathode type arrangement? I did not even pay attention to it. Let's have a look. Datasheet. So 1 and 2, anode 1, anode 2, going to a single cathode. Yeah, I see. That would be ideal for that sort of application. Just drop one part on the board, and you've got dual power inputs that are protected and isolated. That is quite nice. And of course, if you just bond the anodes, then or just use one of them, that is also perfectly valid. And there is a benefit to having a single bill of materials line item that you use in multiple applications for both dual and single designs. At 50 cents? Oh, 50 cents is good for what it is, but misusing it or not taking advantage of all of its features seems like a... Tinker says, that board pick I DM'd to you last week uses one. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, not super cheap.
At Tinker001 said, that board pick IDMD to you last week uses one.
Yeah, okay. Now, let's start applying some filters. Active. And... what am I looking for? Yeah, in stock. Screw it. If you're not in stock, you're dead to me. Let's see, average current rectified. Let's go for anything from 4 amps up to, like, not crazy levels. Let's just pick something here. Okay, so now we're down to 4,500 results. I want packaging. I want it to be either cut tape. Where are we? Digi-reel. Tape and reel. Okay, I don't care about strip and tube and all of those sorts of things. If it doesn't come on one of those 3 options, I don't want to know about it. Then, let's narrow this down some more. What other options do we have? Surface mount wettable. Let's do that. Eliminate all the through hole. And now voltage. DC max reverse. Let's say 100 volts and up to like a kilovolt. 1,600 results. Okay, we're narrowing it down. What else? Voltage forward, VF max. Yeah, we want that minimal. But working through these filters, this filter, look at how many options there are. Because it's at different current ratings, you've got to consider the voltage drop at current rating. So let's just see where we stand now. Oh, look at this. SD56, 600 volt, 5 amp. Yeah, these are all the classic SMA, SMB style. Where are we? What's the footprint on this one? SMA, SMB, yeah. It's giving us all of the classics. 200 volt. Ooh, this is a more modern style. Shocky 100 volt 6 amp CP. Yeah, this sort of thing at 81 cents. It's also automotive rated and AEC Q101. That is nice. 175 degrees. That is, yeah. Current reverse leakage 450 nanoamps at 100 volts. Fast recovery. 840 millivolts at 6 amps. I am starting to like the cut of the jib of this particular thing. So let's open that in its own little tab. And then I'm going to, what I should have done in the first place is sort by price. And yeah, it's dominated by all of the classics. The cheap ones are this sort of style. Let's skip past and see if we can get to some of the more modern. No, that's too big. Like a TO252. That's a boat anchor. It'll be very. Oh, it's only 5 amp rated. What? I was thinking in a 20253 that'd be like 20 amp, 40 amp rated. What are they doing with all the rest of the packaging? Okay, let's have a look at this little guy. So 100 up price, 32 cents. It is 100 volt, 6 amp, which is right on the money in terms of what I'm looking for. Price is not bad, but it's not dual. Yeah, it's a contender. I think I need to take some more time puzzling through all of these things, and I wonder if I can eliminate all of the SMA and SMB packages. So what have we got in here? Yeah. And just look for like TOs and things. So eliminate all of those. I'm going to select all of those, and then I'm going to drop out past all of the SM series, and I'm going to go for, I don't even know if I can do this. I'm going to try selecting that, and then shift select that, and has it deselected my first lot? Oh, I've got 2 ranges. Nice. Okay, apply. Okay, so I need to eliminate the SOD 123s as well. Oh, and eliminate the TO252s. Okay, let's do that. Those are going to be supply device package. I've got to do it this way. Where was it? Where was it? No, I'm going to have to end the stream because it is past 12 and I have guests. Guests coming. Where? D2 pack. Yeah, D2 pack is way too big. Not doing that. D2 pack, HV, no, way too big. Power flat, SOD 123, get rid of that. Oi, what are you doing? Oh, okay, I've lost the plot now. I have really lost the plot. Oh, Henrik says look in Discord. Oh, okay. I'll open Discord again. One last... Grant has emailed me as well. One last look. Yeah, at this. Open. Yeah, I've actually have... This package is not too bad. This is like a flat version. Yeah, the SMAF. That is an SMA flat. And I kind of like it. I have an entire reel of 1N4004s in SMAF. And...
AOZ1284.
AOZ1284. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see. 600 plus, 3 cents each. Let's check some characteristics. 100 volts. So it's 850 millivolts at 3 amps is the forward voltage drop. So it's not nearly as good as this one, which was 400 no, where was it? Oh no, it's the same. 840 millivolts at 6 amps. This one is 850 at 3 amps. 80 amps non-repetitive, forward 3 amps. Okay, for reference, SS56. I just want to see what I'm working with here. 5 amps, what's its voltage drop? 0.55. So 550 millivolts at 5 amps. Am I wrong moving away from an SS56? I think I might be. Okay, let's come back to LCSC and have a look at SS56. It might just be that my feelings towards it are coloured by the association with the 1N4004 series. And let's... Now, where's a filter? I want to apply a filter to get SMAF only. Doesn't matter. Let's just... other suppliers. What am I doing? What am I doing? Details. What does that look like? That looks like a flat format. Is it? Yes, it is. But it's in a large... Oh, it's a large footprint flat. It's significantly wider than the standard... Yeah, SMC. What I want is SMAF. So it's the small footprint, but in the flat format. View all. How about giving me a parametric search? Is that too much to ask? SMC again. Top categories. Yeah, okay. Single diodes. Yep. Let's do this. SMAF. Let's go. Let's go. What have we got? SS56 in a SMAF. Yes, that is what I want. All right. Pricing. Turn it around. We've got 6,000 in stock at a few cents each. And we've got 700 millivolt forward voltage drop at 5 amps, 500 microamp reverse leakage, 60 volt rated, which is okay. All right, what's on a reel? What have we got? Where's a reel? 3,000. What is 3,000?
AOZ1284. Then you can look where is the sausage after that.
$52 for a reel. Stuck it in my cart. Maybe what I should do is just stick with the SS56, but make sure I go for the flat, go for the SMAF package. Now, what was that last thing? AOZ1284. Okay. AOZ1284. And then I really do have to go, soy gate. What? What is with this? That is not a diode. A 4 amp buck regulator. Okay, it's a voltage regulator. I don't need one of those, although I'm always interested. 100 up price, 55 cents. 3 to 36 volt in. No, it's not as good as the LMR 38020, which is what I use as an equivalent in the couple of amps rated. Oh, this one's 4 amp rated, so it's higher voltage, but I mean higher current, but much lower input voltage. The LMR 38020 does up to 80 volts. So the 38020 is because it'll take anything from 3 volts to 80 volts on the input, and it does 2.0 amps on the output. So that's my current go-to, just as a little Soic 8 buck regulator, is the LMR3 8020. Yeah, okay, so that one's not so useful. All right, I am going to have to go. But I think what I need to do is resign myself to sticking with SS56, but I'm just going to get myself a reel of the SMAF format, like the SMAF package SS56, because it's much nicer for machine placement than the full height SMA, SMB style. Because the specs on this are less bad than I remembered. 700 millivolts at 5 amps. It's not great. It's going to be dissipating a bit of power. 0.7 by 5, so 4-ish, give or take, watts. Which is a lot. But yeah, okay. I am going to have to go. Yeah, I am. I'm going to have to go. Save on that. Save on this. Save. Save there. Should be all saved. Google says it's a diode. Right. No, it's not a diode. Okay. Time for me to close all this down. How do I end the stream? Where's the button? First I do that. Then I do that. Then I do... What do I do? Oh, that one. Okay. Thanks for coming along. And I will see some of you very, very soon, because even though it is blustery and cold outside, I think a couple of people will come along to the barbecue today and get to check out the new pick and place machine, which is sitting, I can see it from here, just in the back of the loading dock area. And it is not currently hooked up and running, but you can just marvel at it because it's kind of cool. And I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you later. Okay, thanks. See ya.